All right. Good afternoon, everybody. It's Dr. Tim with Infinity Wellness Center. I was just following up on my Facebook question that I'd asked this week. So one of the things that we focus a lot on in our office and questions that we get a lot from people have to do with posture and the effects of posture and really what does that do? So is it cause problems? So I think we can all agree that bad posture looks kind of frumpy. You can just look about it if you want to evaluate posture in today's society. I just invite you to go to the mall on a weekend, sit down on one of those wood benches that aren't very comfortable, and then just watch as people walk by to kind of determine what do you see. After we cover some of the stuff today, I think you'll understand why it's a little bit more important than just looking bad or looking frumpy or slumped over, that kind of stuff. So start off with is to understand what normal posture is supposed to be. So according like the picture shows us here, we should be straight up and down when we look at you from the front. And then from the side, our ear, shoulder, hip, and ankle bone should be in a straight line, but you'll notice that the spine actually has curves in it. So it's the normal structure, that kind of double S shape that's in the spine is actually a very brilliant design that helps to absorb shock and disperse force for us. And when it is in its normal place, the body is very resilient to stresses and forces. And it's only when those postural things start to change that we actually start to see things go bad. So one of the things and the questions that I get a lot is we know about forward head position. So if we were looking at the picture there, that guy's ears over that shoulder. But if you just were to stand up and have people look at, evaluate your posture from the side, you'll find for most people that their ear is nowhere close to the midpoint of their shoulder. It's very far forward. So the question comes like, what's happening? So one of the things that we look at when we know that through cadaver studies that when we lose the curve in the neck, that the spinal cord actually gets stretched. And you can see in your hand, if I put a curve in my hand, the skin on my palm is loose and relaxed. If I open my hand, it stretches the skin. So understanding that when your neck has its normal curve in it, that cord is nice and loose and relaxed in there, kind of like what we're showing here on this picture. So a healthy, relaxed spinal cord. The spinal cord is the section here in the center. And then the spinal nerve root is where the arrow is pointing. And notice that the spinal nerve root has that nice little bend to it. There's not tension in there. And so this would be when you have a normal curve in your neck and things are allowed to be relaxed. Now, as we change to the next slide here, we can see a drastic change in that. So now we've lost the curve in the neck. So we went from a normal 45-degree curve and we've gone to a zero curve. And so, like I said, we know that stretches the cord 5 to 7 centimeters on cadaver studies. And so that amount of tension, not only is it creating problems, but you can see the amount of force, tensile force that's into those nerve roots. And that force actually decreases neurologic function. So there's a really good, I can't play the little video dynamics on here, or I would do that, but you can see this exact same study where they looked at blood flow in the spinal cord. And when that neck got stretched like that, it dramatically decreased blood flow. And so again, what does that do and what is that causing? So if we interfere with neurologic function and just normal communication in the body, I think everybody can understand how that would start to impact how we feel, how we function, and whether or not we're well. And so this was a study that was done in 1957, and it was in the Journal of American Medical Association, and it talked about postural deviations and said, like, when we see these abnormal postural issues, disc degeneration, arthritic changes, all of these things, what does it lead to, or what kinds of things are associated with it? And so in the study, it found that it led to an intestinal diverticuli and hemorrhoids, varicoses of the legs, osteoporosis, hip and foot deformities, an overall poor quality of health and life, as well as a shortened lifespan. So there are numerous studies out, ones that have been done more recently than the 57 study here, that actually shows that forward head posture and this loss of normal uprightness and rigidity to the spine actually cause different quality of health and quality of life instances, but there's also strong and stronger evidence showing how it affects respiration and cardiovascular issues, tons of different things that we know and we've known for a long time, maybe haven't had the best research to be able to back it up, but you had a lot of anecdotal studies and a lot of just seeing patients improve with these things over time as they fix their posture. And that's one of the reasons why we focus so much on that in the office. And so a couple of other studies. So this one in the orange box here, I feel this is something that kind of grabs people's attention, and that is that they did a study in older community dwellings. It was in the Journal of the Geriatric Society, and they found that hyperkyphotic posture, so that rounded shoulders, forward head, was actually able to predict mortality in older community dwellings. And so they were able to actually, based off people's postural presentation, they were actually able to use accurate predictors to say how long these people were going to live. And it's funny because there was a couple of people in the comments from the Facebook post that I had that had said, hey, have you ever seen somebody with good posture in a nursing home? Or have you, somebody had even mentioned that I talked with them about this study previously. And but it's something to really think about, because again, if we're just looking at the normal posture of everybody in society today, people that are sitting at computers all day, they're looking down at their phones if we're the younger generation. And so it's like, what is the true effect or that's happening as we keep looking down all the time? So you can see here that the forward head posture syndrome. So all of those symptoms that are listed there have correlation with having bad postural position of the head. So when that head breaks forward, I think it makes sense to people that headaches and migraines and neck pain would probably come from that, just because if I tell people I hold a bowling ball here, I can hold it a long time, but if I move it way out in front of me, I'm not going to be able to hold it for very long. So the farther your head moves forward, the more stress pressure that's put on not only the muscles, but the bones and the neurologic system. But I think some of these things like acid reflux and sleep apnea and stuff like that, that's not what people are normally thinking about. I'm pretty sure the average person who has acid reflux isn't wondering if my forward head position has anything to do with it. But yet we know that there's strong correlation with it. And just, as a chiropractor who's been in practice for over 25 years now, it's kind of crazy to the number of people that we've seen that have acid reflux that come in with neck pain and upper back pain. And just as a response of us helping them improve that, they noticed improvements in these other areas. And I've had many patients that had, sleep apnea and had, CPAP machines. And then over time, they're able to go off of those and get checked by their doctors, and things are functioning better. And it's not I don't advertise on my windows that, we fix everybody's sleep apnea, but it's just understanding a basic principle of good posture equals good neurology, and good neurology is going to equal better health. And so these last couple here, were done, the Journal of Physical Therapy Science, and it showed the effects of forward head posture on vital capacity and respiratory activity. So just your ability to oxygenate your body properly. And then that last one on the bottom there talks about upright posture associated with different aspects of cognition in adults. So again, that rigid spine and that inability to move, and how that starts to affect our neurologic health. So we'll get another question up this week. You guys can keep posting and asking questions, and we'll keep covering different topics. My goal is just to give you guys some great information that allows you to understand different things, whether it's nutrition, whether it's toxicity, physical activity. Obviously, being a chiropractor, we're very focused on the spine, because I'll tell you one thing, guys. I love talking about nutrition. I love talking about those things because these are all important. But with a bad spine and nervous system, the nutrition and all that kind of stuff, it just doesn't hold quite as much importance. I had a conversation with a patient last week about old Christopher Reeves, and he said, if he was still alive today, if we gave him organic broccoli and detoxed him and did all those things, he wouldn't start functioning normal again, because he damaged his spine when he fell off his horse. So it's not that those things aren't important, but when we have a challenge in our neurologic system, because it is the master controller and controls everything in our body, then all of these other things that we can do, we may not be getting the benefit out of them that we think we should. So you guys have a great rest of the weekend, and I look forward to talking with you guys next week.